Hi there everybody, Matt Hall, Deputy Head Teacher here. I'm going to be presenting to you today on our remote learning, providing an overview for parents on what to expect. I'm going in this video to be talking you through 4 possible scenarios and what we're going to be doing as a school to ensure that your child continues learning effectively. The first scenario that I'm going to talk to you about is where the school is open fully for face-to-face teaching for students in all year groups, but your child is self-isolating and therefore not able to attend. The second scenario that I'm going to discuss would be when a positive test result is received for a pupil or a member of staff at the school, and following the advice of Public Health England on their recommendation, the school were to shut to a specific group of students who would need to self-isolate. The third scenario that I'm going to discuss is due to a number of teachers being unwell or needing to self-isolate. The school is not able to operate as normal and as a result partially closes to some year groups for a short period. And the final scenario would be how we would respond to a national or local lockdown resulting in a partial or full school closure. So scenario 1. The school is open for face-to-face teaching for all year groups, but my child is self-isolating and therefore cannot attend. Well, first things first, in this instance, you must follow our normal student absence protocols and notify the school on the morning of the first day your child is off school. If they're showing any of the following 3 coronavirus symptoms, then you must obtain a COVID test for them by visiting the NHS website. And those 3 possible symptoms, which I'm sure you're familiar with, are a sustained high temperature, significant bouts of coughing 3 or more times over a 24-hour period, or loss of taste and smell. If your child is well, but is unable to be in school because they're self-isolating, they should endeavour to follow their normal school timetable when working from home. Now, their teachers will support them with this by putting all of the resources from the lessons that they're delivering in school onto their Google Classroom so that the child who's at home can access them independently. They should also access the online apps, which as a school we buy into to support them with their learning, in particular My Maths for Maths and Tassami for Science and English. And the child should submit any work that they produce whilst they're at home self-isolating to their teachers so they can give them feedback. And that should either be submitted via Google Classroom or to the teacher by email. And if the work's been done on paper, we'd recommend that the child takes a photograph of it, perhaps using a mobile phone, and can then email and share the photograph. Just a quick reminder then about how your child accesses their Google Classroom from home. So in the first image here, if they go to the school website and click on the login button at the top right of the screen, it comes up with this overlay, and they need to click the Google Classroom icon, which is just on the bottom right here. And that will take them to their Google Classroom that you can see in figure 2. And they should have a tile for each of their different subjects. And if they click that through, they will access their class stream and be able to see the work that their teacher has set for them. So moving on to scenario 2. In scenario 2, a positive test has been received for a pupil or member of staff. And as a result of the school following the advice of Public Health England, a specific group of students has been sent home to self-isolate. Okay, well, firstly, students who are well but at home, again, should try to follow their normal school timetable. In the event that a whole class has been sent home, then online lessons will be delivered by their subject teachers as per their normal school timetable. It's possible that, let's say, a whole group of students who are together in year 9, 10 or 11 for their core curriculum have been sent home. That would mean they would be delivered online lessons for their English, maths and science. But their option lessons might well be continuing in school because the whole class isn't out. And in which case, if it's just part of a class that has been sent to self-isolate, all resources from the in-school lessons for those classes will be uploaded onto the Google Classroom, so the students can work on them independently. As before, pupils should submit work to their teacher via Google Classroom or via email. So that scenario, it depends a little bit over how wide the group of students is, but it's likely to be a blended approach of some online lessons if a whole group is missing, and some independent work from Google Classroom if part of a group is missing. Scenario 3 then. In scenario 3, due to a number of teachers being unwell or needing to self-isolate, the school is not able to operate as normal, and as a result partially closes for a short period to one or more year groups. In this instance, we would endeavour to provide a full curriculum of online lessons. Lessons would run as per the normal school day timings, and students would be expected to follow their normal school timetables, and that would include attending prep and PM reg, where they'd sign in and meet with their tutor virtually. The only exception to that full timetable would be core PE lessons. They won't take place live, but instead our PE staff will post suggested exercise routines onto Google Classroom for the students to complete. Now, in the event of a teacher being ill and therefore unable to deliver a live lesson, a notice to that effect would be placed on the Google Classroom in question, so the students are aware of that. In that case, learning resources would be posted to the Google Classroom for the students to work on independently. And our final scenario, scenario 4, a local or national lockdown is in place, which results in partial or full school closure. So similar to stage 3, if this happens, the school will endeavour to provide the full curriculum of online lessons, and students will be expected to follow their normal school timetables throughout the day, with the exception of core PE, where those activities will be put onto Google Classroom for the students. We really want the students to access the online lessons at the time that they are running, which will be as per the students' timetables. But we recognise that for some families and some households, this just simply might not be possible. So to help with that, teachers in this scenario will also record their online lessons and will consistently post them to Google Classroom after they have taken place. And this will mean even if the students can't watch or join the lesson at the time, they can sign in at a later point and still make sure they don't miss out on their learning. In this scenario, pupils' attendance at online lessons will be very closely monitored. If your child is ill and therefore unable to attend online lessons, we'll expect you to notify the school of their absence via the usual process, so their teachers aren't expecting them. We're in the process of adding a new button to class charts, which teachers will use to record if a pupil misses an online lesson, and that will be used if they're not present and we're not aware that they're ill, and that will mean that parents are aware and that we can collect that data then too. Okay, so a quick reminder about how to join a online lesson using Google Classroom and Google Meet. So firstly, previously some of our students have had issues with joining our online lessons because Google Chrome perhaps has a parent's automatic Google account saved on the computer. As a result of that, we recommend that when you open up Google Chrome before trying to join an online lesson, that the student goes into incognito mode. And you do that by clicking the 3 dots in the browser just by the search bar and selecting incognito mode. And that means that all previous cookies and saved usernames and shared passwords are temporarily ignored. The child would then sign in through the school website and go to their Google Classroom in question. Shortly before the lesson would be due to start, normally 10 to 15 minutes before, the teacher will make a Google Meet link available to the students within the Google Classroom. And you can see that just on the image just here. The students will need to click this Meet link to join the live lesson. That will take the students into the live lesson, and when they join the live lesson, we ask that they make sure that their microphone and camera is turned off. If they need to speak to the teacher, they can use the chat function, and a teacher might well select a student to turn on their microphone so they can contribute an answer. But as a default, we need them to join with their microphone and camera off. We've recently sent again to parents our how-to guide for live lessons, which just breaks down how to access a live lesson in a bit more detail. And we've also reshared the videos that we put together on this in the summer term, and they're also available on our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch in a little bit more detail a walkthrough of how to access live lessons, please do view those videos again. And a quick reminder of our rules for students in our online lessons. When we did these previously at the end of the summer, our students were brilliant, and I've got every confidence they will be again. But just so you can support us with this and reinforce it as a parent. So we do need students to mute their microphones, turn their cameras off. And at the start of each lesson, there will be a do now task set on Google Classroom, which they're expected to get on with at the start of the Google Meet. They're also expected to get involved, asking and answering questions in the chat function, so they're learning effectively. Just a couple of simple don'ts. So we ask that the students do not turn on their camera or microphone unless specifically directed to by their teacher. It's very important that they ensure that they are appropriately dressed and up against an appropriate neutral background where they're not going to be interrupted by younger siblings. And finally, we ask that they try to join the meet in a quiet location where they can focus effectively, free from distractions.